Hey guys, I just wanted to show you how I got AWS Textract to work um, outside of the nodes that n8n currently provides in November 2025. So when I try to go and add a AWS Textract node, you can see that there are actually two options. There's the node and then there's the AI agent tool. Now, when I click on the tool, you can see that there's really only one action we can do, which is the analyze receipt or invoice. Um, and it's actually making a suggestion. Hey, if you can't find the right one, use the custom API call, which it brings us to an HTTP node. Now that's a little bit more complicated for people who don't really know what to do here. But I would even say for people who are technical, there are limitations. And I'll briefly go into that. If you're not interested, I kind of skip to the next part. But basically, what we're going to be sending when we're sending a custom API call to AWS Textract are two things. It's going to be, and it could be two things. It would be a file, and then it would be some metadata that goes along with it, right? Um, so when we're talking about the content type of what we're sending over, right, when we're making API calls, it's going to be a multi-part API request. Um, Now, there are ways that we can actually identify or separate, hey, this portion is for uh, the PDF itself, and this portion is, text data, or whatever metadata that we're sending along with the request. Um, but there really is no way for um, for n8n to actually um, process a multi-part form data, for example, request. Um, so this is definitely something that I spent a lot of time banging my head against the wall in n8n for. So that was the secondary limitation. So first being there is no node for just regular text extraction, and if you wanted to do a custom API call through the HTTP request node, n8n does not have the ability at this point to parse a multi-part form data call, for example. So what my options were uh, left was to think about, okay, well, I still need access to AWS Textract. So how can I set this up in AWS? So what I did was I set up, you know, there are three entities, right? AWS S3 for the S3 bucket, AWS Lambda as as a serverless um, function that I can call, and then obviously the AWS Textract service. So I had to create an AWS account to do all these things. I still would have had to do it anyway for getting the AWS Textract API key, but um, so I set it up to where I would download the file locally. For in this case, it's a Google Drive. Then I upload it to an S3 bucket, and then this AWS Lambda function um, pulls from this S3 bucket location, and then it runs the Textract service, which I'm calling within the Lambda function. Um, Now, some of the drawbacks you're going to have are that, as you can see here, I'm actually polling, so I have to sort of wait for the job to be done. There's probably a way around that, but this is just kind of a quick way that I figured out how to do that. Um, and since it's serverless, it takes a few seconds for the uh, for the function to really start up and then actually run. So this took a couple minutes to actually OCR extract a legal pleading. Again, legal pleadings are really long, so it took a couple minutes, 2 to 5 minutes, to extract it. But yep, hope this helps. Guys, I realized I didn't go really in depth into how I configured everything, like the AWS S3 node and that Lambda node and what code did I use. Um, I meant this as a high level, but if you're interested in something like that, please leave a comment, a message. I'd be happy to do that.